how we've been getting to our overhook and like proper stance and motion, right? So if we are in like a NoGi stance, which you have to defend against shots a little bit more, so we're in like a little bit more of a lowered stance than just like the traditional like upright judo stance. We're guarding our lead leg from shots, so we have our down block arm guarding our lead leg, and we're probing with our backhand, right? It's more safe to probe with your backhand because they can't shoot on your back leg, where if I reach front leg, right, they can kind of just pop under. So when I probe and I make contact with my backhand, my front hand is going to go down and up, right? So it's kind of just like guarding against the shot, where if I am here and he goes to shoot, right, I'm coming up and like forcing him up rather than just coming here and like making contact up here, where it could still come under my hand, right? So in wrestling, there's something called shooting to a tie. So you can also shoot to a tie. So you can come in your stance, lower, and just pop up and in. So that's a great way to close distance in like a relatively safe manner because we're shooting to a tie. We're like faking an attack, and we're just coming up and in and getting two hands on. Now, once we get our two hands on, we're gonna turn their shoulders, right? So we turn our shoulders and we also turn their shoulders. And we wanna bring the side we wanna overhook closest to us. From here, my hand that's on front of the shoulder is gonna slide around back, and I'm gonna throw in my overhook. So now we pretend like this over-under position where we can start like working our overhook series. Additionally, we can always just come here, make contact, and throw this low at the elbow and try to force this position, right? So this is kind of working like a short drag, where if I'm able to come here and start forcing this elbow across for this short drag, I can really start like working offense, but most people won't just let you start short dragging. So as soon as you come here, they're going to throw an underhook. It's kind of like a bait. We're threatening the short drag, so they throw the underhook. So those are the two ways that I typically get to my overhook. Other than just like kind of just hanging out here and hoping they go for it, which a lot of people actually do, right? Underhooks are taught to be the superior position, so a lot of people will just go for the underhook. But those are like the more two articulate ways I get to it. So let's just practice getting to our overhook. Remember, when we get to our overhook, we're coming fists up, right? We want to gain shoulder dominance over, so we're not having like a low overhook, we're having a high overhook, right? Where I'm almost putting his shoulder in my armpit. The fist is coming up, and then my elbow is driving through, right? So I'm setting my shoulders down here, right? And now I can start putting a lot of pressure on my partner. Okay, so just making sure we're getting like a nice tight overhook. Any questions? 1, 2. I'm just going to talk about some of the common pitfalls of the overhook. So if my partner gets me in an overhook, right, me as an underhooking person, the one thing I like to do to kind of disrupt the overhook is a seatbelt, right? If you get a seatbelt, you're able to displace a lot of the pressure that the overhook places. So one of the key things to an overhook is that you can present like a mirror lock situation, right? Even if you don't have your hands connected and the elbows exposed, you can still do it by setting the shoulders down and bringing the elbow through, right? But if they connect their hand to my hip, then all the pressure goes away, right? So if they start coming to the seatbelt, I'm always stepping out and twisting my hip. So that pivoting of the foot clears the hand, and then I can start applying pressure, right? And they either double up on their underhook, right? Or they try to clear the position, right? Where I'll usually dig out the 2-on-1, right? But as soon as they touch that seatbelt, it's like a get out moment. Like danger, time to get out, right? Doesn't mean you have to completely bail on the position, but we do not really want to hang out with them with this seatbelt position. So we're taking the step to the outside, and we're twisting that hip and pressuring down and forcing back to that underhook. All right? Kind of pitfall number 2, body locks, right? So yeah, if you are not guarding your hip pocket with your free hand, you're open to body locks. So if he even has an underhook, right, and he's here, he could just snap a body lock pretty quickly, right? So this free hand is acting like a net, right? And you're guarding your hip pocket. So when they go and try and shoot that body lock, we're able to collect that wrist in front of us and really prevent the body lock, right? You can kind of time this in with like uchimatas and other forward attacks, because the forward pressure of a body lock leads to those forward attacks. But just some pitfalls to be cautious of when playing the overhook game. This and the body lock, right? In both cases, there are things we can do once they've like achieved position on us, but just avoid those positions in general, like with some like minor risk mitigation behaviors. Okay, so 1, stepping, pivoting, and 2 is just playing with that net there, right? So we're playing here. Okay, let's just play with those a little bit. Like underhook guy, play with getting the body lock. Like go seatbelt a little bit. Try and pressure the seatbelt from the overhook and see if you can like get good pressure. Probably not, but you know, just like understand how those positions progress and how you feel within them. Questions? 1, 2. Thing to touch on. If someone actually secures this body lock, right? Say they secure the body lock, what do we do? My favorite thing to do is like force a dog fight, right? So rather than letting myself get swallowed, I start facing the same direction, right? I don't want them to like start beating me in here, like inside, right here, and like starting to take me over here. So I come, I stick my leg inside, my hand goes down, and I force dog fights, right? So it's almost just like a really hard whizzer. So you like come inside, turn away, force dog fights, right? And then we have like a bunch of things we could do to like kind of come out and beat it, like win the dog fight. But to defend against a body lock that has been secured, I force dog fight position. And you know, it's not the best being overhooked with the body lock or with the dog fight, but it does give us more options than, you know, a standing body lock. Okay?
Can I see one more time?
Yeah. So they actually secure this body lock on us, right? I stay with my foot on the inside, I twist, hand comes down, right? And if they commit with this body lock, right, their face is gonna hit the ground. So I basically threaten to bring his face down and force this position. Right, now whether or not I'm trying to slide out and come to my front head, or like however I want to play. There's a lot of things we can do from that dog fight. It's like it's a whole unit we could do, dog fight. But we're gonna focus on the overhook and just some like the risk mitigation behaviors we can have. Okay? Any other questions? 1, 2. Great. Okay, solid. Okay. We're going to talk a little bit more about this overhook, and we're going to go over the Arsonist. So we're going to go over like a couple different versions of the Arsonist today, and they're all valid, they all work, but to different degrees, and we do them at different times. But the Arsonist is a frontside fireman's. So rather than tucking our head behind and going for this near leg, we're going to leave our head in front and attack the near leg. Right? So when I attack this near leg, I go head to the chest, right? And the weight break is back, right? So we're taking this overhook, and we're trying to block the leg and bring them back, right? At the same time, we're grabbing here, right? So here, we could fall with it, but for now, let's pick up this leg, change our feet, and rotate them down. Okay, so we're going to do this like nice, easy version first, and then we're going to like progress to like harder variations of it. So, overhook, step behind, right? If you feel the need, you can bring your feet together to get like a little bit bigger of a step, right? Chest in, grabbing this near leg, lift it up, switch it down. And if you notice, it's a circular motion. I'm not like driving into them. I'm pulling them back and circling them down. Okay? Any questions on this?
Sit again.
Yeah. Nice and easy. Okay. 1, 2. Okay. So we're going to completely change gears with how this technique is performed, and we're going to like learn how to perform it in like its most brutal capacity. So this is like a huge lift, right? So everything is the same about the technique, right? We're still stepping behind, we're still getting this big bite, but this time we're using our overhook to pull them onto this leg, right? So we should pull them like this, right? So we step behind, we pull them. We need to get chest to chest, or else they're gonna fall off of us, right? You should be able to pick them up like this, right? If you don't get chest to chest, you end up trying to pick them up like this, right? And the leverage is all wrong, right? They're like falling off, the weight is tipping away from you, rather than just sitting on your chest, right? Right, so we're just going to learn how to pick people up here, right? So we've gone from like the easiest way to do it, where we're just circling them down, to now we're like learning how to lift them, right? And there's a bunch of like in-betweens we can hit with this, okay? Any questions? Can you see one more time? Yeah. Stepping in, big bite is essential. Head against the chest, leaning them onto you. Lifting up. Yeah? 1, 2. Okay. Are we ready to learn some more iterations of it?
Yes.
Okay. So this technique, kind of like the fireman's, can be done in like a very low sense, right? So the fireman's, my favorite fireman's anyway, is a drop knee fireman's that happens from an acute angle. So anytime you're at 90 degrees with the feet, or more acute, we can just drop this outside knee in and slide right into this fireman, right? When I do my fireman, I typically go straight to an S sit, right here. So I typically drop this knee, I lift this foot, and drop right into it. I drop right here into this S, right? If you think you lack the mobility to do that, you can go big step, drop the knee, butt back, fall into the S a little bit more safely, right? But if you think you can just like rip it through, where you can go boom, and then like pop into your like immediately hip switch for your Keisagatami, we can do that, right? So when I hit this Arsonist, I still come behind this leg, right? But it's almost more of a trap. So if we're a little bit further apart, right, and he's a little bit more wrestling, right, it's hard to get my head against the chest here. And a fireman's may be kind of out of line as well. So I will go forehead to the chest and slide in front for this like ankle pick instead, right? So it's like kind of starts blending in with the fireman's. The only difference is like we don't slide our head all the way through, which I think is better for jiu-jitsu because we never expose the crucifix. Right? By keeping your head in front, we never expose our back here, where we're just like putting ourselves in this crucifix if it doesn't go right. So, we're going to blend the fireman's and the arsonist, right? We're going to start a little bit further away, right? We're going to focus on this heel coming and blocking this foot while we make this grab. The head comes into the chest, and we drive over. One more time. You want to see this one?
Yes.
We go overhook. We're looking for this cross, right? If you feel like you're lacking the mobility to get there, we're coming and we're just coming behind, drop, and slowly getting there. Mechanically, it should work even if you go slow, right? If things work when you go slow and they're mechanically sound, when you start adding speed and strength to it, they become like overpowered techniques. Because if they work when they're happening slow, when you hit them hard, it's really hard to stop them, okay? So practice it slow, make it work, just like work on it for yourself, okay? Any questions? No? Okay, 1, 2.